Well, hello, and welcome back to the Midwest Decarbonization Coalition, Meet the Board of Directors podcast. And so I am Marnice Jackson, and I am the Executive Director here at the Building Decarbonization Coalition. And our mission is to decarbonize the Midwestern building sector by 2050. And all that means is get all the fossil fuels, that yucky stuff, gas, out of our buildings before 2050. Yes, this is ambitious because we are hyper dependent on fossil fuels and we just don't know how to get away from the cultural norm of using gas appliances like our stoves, right? And so we are in Indiana, Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, and Ohio. And so Midwest BDC got founded to do this regional coalition building because we know that it takes all of us to work on a specific issue, but we want to make sure that we embody the HIMAS principles for democratic organizing, making sure that we do bottom up organizing, adhere to the climate justice principles. If you haven't seen those, Google them. I believe they're still Googleable. Yeah, Google's a thing now. With DEI. And so, but just look it up, okay? But then also to make sure that we center our work around high energy burden and environmental racism. So if your utility bill is skyrocket, is because, and it's getting high, is because of the fossil fuels that we are using. And so joining me today is a new board member. Tamesha Fikes is a community development manager of Midwest America Federal Credit Union. Having worked in the financial services industry for 19 years, she enjoys empowering people through financial wellness education. In 2019, she was awarded the Preston Lyons Freedom and Justice Award by the local NAACP branch in Fort Wayne for her work in economic empowerment and her love for financial empowerment and helping those in community, and which inspires her daily. And so Tamesha has also been a member of several local nonprofit organizations. She currently sits on the board of Associated Churches of Fort Wayne and Allen County and Vincent Village. She is also a member of the Finance Committee for St. Joseph Missions Women's Shelter. She has participated in advancing voices of women, former president of the Fort Wayne alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I had to do it. And currently serves as a vice president of Greater Fort Wayne National Panhellenic Council. Woo! So you are definitely busy. I remember when
Yeah,
I was a Panhell president back in college. That's a lot of work.
it is. It is.
And Tisha was born and raised in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So, yes, giving back to your community, that is so awesome. And she received her bachelor's degree from Indiana University, Bloomington in 2004 in public financial management. She also holds a Master of Business Administration from Indiana Wesleyan University. So, Tamisha, is there anything else you would like for us to know?
um, I would just say I am an avid football fan, and so I am an avid University of Michigan football fan. Let me just put that out there. Go blue!
Ooh, look at
And so my
you!
entire family, we support blue. We bleed blue. I tell
Okay.
everybody that we bleed maize and blue. Um, yeah, I just love sports, love family, and love just being out and about and meeting new people. So.
That's nice. And you are very active. I'm so surprised that because you're from Indiana that you would be a blue fan. I'm more of the go green, but I'm always going to root for the home team no matter where I'm at. So
So, just a fun, quick story. My dad actually played for the University of Michigan from 1981 to 85 under Bo Schembechler, and he still holds top 10 records of being one of the top tight ends in the school history. So, we lost him back in 2002, but so we still honor him by rooting on our boys in blue.
wow, and remind me, and I'm sorry to hear about your dad. Sending love and light to you and your family. I wanted to know, wait a minute though, what's your dad name?
Sim Nelson.
Nelson. Okay. So I probably wouldn't know because that my dad probably knows if he watched my even though
Yeah,
he's more go green, but hey.
it's okay.
Uh,
It's all
um,
love, right? Long as
right.
not that team from the other state down south.
Oh yeah, look
Mhm.
underneath Michigan. That should
Mhm.
probably be a Michigan. Should be Michigan.
Mhm.
Yeah. But of course, respectfully, we have to respect the work that they do within our
Mm-hmm.
organization. So I'll just say that. So how did you get involved with the Midwest Building Decarbonization Coalition?
So it all kind of happened within the past year.
Mhm.
So last June, I believe, I took a green home improvement class through an organization called Inclusive, and it was a 9-week class where we kind of learned about like some of the energy work that is going on and some of the credit unions that are out here doing work in those spaces.
Mhm.
And so from that class, it just kind of started piquing my interest in a few things. And so we ended up, one of our homework assignments was to interview someone that we knew that was locally working in that space. And so I reached out to Miss Sheila Curry Campbell and had an interview with her. And so that's how I kind of got involved with Midwest BDC. I started attending the meetings that she has here locally. And then from there, just started to get more and more interested as we are working to roll out some products to help with some energy efficient loans for members in our community. So that's kind of how I got introduced to this work.
Well, well, well. Well, go Sheila. Sheila's like a true Midwest BDC member because yes, she's one of our board members and have been here since the very beginning. You all listen to the podcast I did with Sheila, but she actually does the work by bringing people in to the organization. So I really appreciate her and her dedication and effort. So to expand on that, why did you want to be a member of the board of directors? And could you tell us something that people may not know about board of directors and what they do and how they contribute?
Yeah, so I would say for me, what intrigued me to want to be a part of the board of directors was this this whole green space, energy efficiency, decarbonization is something that's totally new for me. And so I am a lifelong learner. I love to learn and just expand my knowledge. And so I thought it was a way for me to kind of hone in on a lot of the board service that I've currently done in the past, probably 15 years, but trying it in a different space to see how I could best utilize myself and also as a learning opportunity for myself as well.
Nice. So what do you feel that board members contribute to the organization and how?
Okay, so I've been on quite a few boards. And so I would say my first board I remember being on was like the PBS board here locally, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into, right? So that was probably like 13, 14 years ago. And so it allowed me to just kind of learn more about the organization, but also learning more about the daily ins and outs of things. I think so being on the board of any organization allows you to not only see what they do, for the public, but also allows you to see how they operate, how they do things. It allows you to bring your knowledge and maybe just asking questions and maybe providing assistance that they may not have thought of, because they've always done it this way. They've not thought of a different way. So being able to ask questions and just gain knowledge, I think, is a great way to kind of just start learning how an organization works is by jumping in and being a part of their board.
Nice. I agree. And so for those who are new to any type of board or what who or maybe interested, what would you say would be the best way to go about doing that?
I would say first do your research. So know who you are and what is important to you. So making sure that when you do start looking for board involvement, you're aligning yourself with things that you already have a passion for or that you believe strongly in. And then reaching out, maybe going to some volunteer opportunities. They might be having a fundraiser or something that they need volunteers for, or you can, get a group of people together to go do a project or something there. I think that's a great way to kind of start getting involved in the organization. And then from there, taking on a little bit more responsibility and then ultimately asking, what other roles do you have, where you need some assistance and how can I help you? And that a lot of times leads to some board spots.
Okay, so question: what shouldn't a board member do? And your
Well, I would
experience.
say a board member should not try to take over. That's why most organizations have an executive director. The role of the board member is to be there to help the executive director, not take over for the executive director, because that is their job, but be there to assist, however, that executive director or president, whatever that title may be, to assist them in whatever it is that they may need. Maybe it's, you provide some for me, I normally provide some financial insight, and so maybe the person may not be as financially savvy and may have some questions, but also just being there to help them and seeing how they can expand their reach out into the community.
I agree. From a person who sits on two other boards, like, and I know that it's very hard, especially when you have a startup organization. I know now uh, that you definitely want a board to be supportive, but then also know what's going on so you could build trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then after a while, you're like, look, okay, I got it. Don't if you're an entrepreneurial type of person like I am, but hey, look, I got it. And if I need some help out, I'm definitely going to reach out because like you said, some things I may not know because things are ever changing
Mm-hmm.
within our society, within our rules. So it's good to have a functioning board of directors who could jump in and assist, at the drop of a hat. So I wanted to know though, with you being new to this space, what do you wish people knew about energy and climate justice?
I think I wish people just really paid more attention to it. You have those people who are really, die hard into it. But I think there's something that all of us could take away from the work that's going on in this space. If it's just from, checking your appliances to make sure you have the best energy efficient appliances out there. I've had conversations with my aunt and uncle about getting rid of their gas stove, and they keep looking at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, no, you guys are gonna, you're letting off all these fumes. They're like, we're not getting rid of our gas stove, but I'm gonna keep on talking to them about it, right? It's just knowing those little small things, like, hey, maybe we need to change the type of light bulbs that we're using. Just the little things that you can do daily that'll help us all in the greater scheme of things.
Yeah, because building, for those who don't know, buildings is the biggest contributor. Just the Midwest alone. That's why we got this organization, right? Because the Midwest between two other countries, Germany and I believe India. Don't quote me on that, but it is definitely Germany. We're like number four of being the biggest emitter, fossil fuels, gas, all that yucky stuff to climate change.
Mm-hmm.
So that okay, I know understand people be like, climate change is so far away, that's not real. I mean, I do believe, I have seen a survey that people do believe in climate change. For those naysayers, well, if you think these extreme weather patterns is just a thing, like that's climate change. Like a lot of this stuff that's going on is just not normal.
Right.
um so but then also the utility justice part of this, like
Mm-hmm.
do you like high bills? And then that's the part, talking to your people about switching over to gas to electric, that we have to grapple within the environmental movement. Electricity is high. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
Michigan, DTE Energy, our bill is high, okay? And so and they keep raising the rates like
Right.
this is okay. And then the powers that be have the audacity to be messing with people in the tariffs. Like, is you crazy? Like, no, are you crazy? You are crazy because we're going to experience a potential shut off with no backup plan here, so that's where
Mm-hmm.
the clean energy options come in. And then there's a whole nother thing, like, why do Canada, and I love Canada, thank you, but why do Canada is controlling our energy when then that makes me even question our infrastructure here in the
Mm-hmm.
US. Anyway, I digress. But that's why I ask people this question: what do you wish people knew about it? I wish people knew that this is all connected,
Right.
to the bigger piece. I don't even start with the conversations anymore about climate change because people are like, what? That's just
Just happenstance, right? Yeah, it just
yeah,
doesn't keep happening, right?
right. Like, okay, guys, you know what?
No,
Let's
there's
talk.
something more that's going on.
You know what? Let's just talk about your bills. At the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
it's about the economics and the money.
And
So,
what affects them, their bottom line. And if you don't have the infrastructure in place to, switch those things, you're going to not be able to afford them after a while.
oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. So,
So
but
that's why we have to stay on our, these regulatories, utility commissions and things like that. Like, you can keep raising our rates, but we've got to find a way to fight back and advocate so that, everyone that's using these services, can benefit.
and that's another question around our advocacy efforts. Since the revolution is going to be televised nowadays, it's a different organizing model that I'm used to. But okay, whatever. I love Kendrick though. Uh, how do you hold, in your opinion, hold these corporations accountable? And I know this is not the question that I send you, but I'm just curious. Like, how do we hold these powers that be accountable when they're part of like the bigger picture, the bigger plan, within our society?
I
It's like,
think it's kind of like, how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time, right? So, being able to show up in spaces where we know these people are going to be, being able to advocate. So being able to ask our community, educate them on what's going on so that they know, so that not only our voice, but a collective voice can be heard. I think those are the things that we start with, because they're not going to listen to just us, but as we grow this movement, making sure that we stay in on the phones and in the emails of our legislature people who have the authority to make those changes. I think that's where it kind of starts, is just starting in the communities and getting the word out and educating, and then working towards that advocacy piece.
yeah, and I don't think people understand the power that they have. I do think they're starting to see it now. I know I see it when I have to send one pagers to my local officials, at the local and state level. And that's when I tell people, like, look, if I have a way in, I'm bringing you with me, because I know I just
Right.
can't do it by myself, right? And so these elected officials, sometimes they're not spun up on the subject matter of climate change. They may not be, and it could be any other topic. So I have to send one pagers or talking points because they have that position of power to them. Like, hey, look, no, you need to vote the other way, okay? Because I'm not voting for you, and I'm direct. So I'll be like, look, I'm not voting for you again if you don't do this. And I'm gonna tell my people not to vote for you, because this is like really important. This is a health impact, this is economical, and this is a racial injustice if you do this. Okay, so I'm not voting for you again. I'm telling everybody, I'm gonna post it on social media. You're gonna be mad. You better do this. And so I think people just don't underestimate the power that they have in building those relationships with their local officials. I tell you, because they can get reelected every 2 years and they want to, right?
Right.
A lot of them want to, but you also got to hold them accountable.
Correct.
Like, so outside of that, what are some projects that you're working on that brings you joy and excitement? Because, talking about this work around climate change, it's hard on top of all the stuff that's
um,
coming.
yes, it's gonna always be there, right? I would say what I have working on currently right now, is just expanding my financial literacy courses that I'm doing out in our community here in Fort Wayne, and making a bigger impact with that. So we just started doing that last year. And so I've already seen, just from the first quarter of this year of 2025, I think I've already tripled the number of people I've already had an impact on just in the first quarter compared to last year. And so making sure that I keep doing the things that I'm doing, as far as, educating our community on, all the things financial, so that we put them in a place where they feel empowered to
Mhm.
do the right things. So I'm not saying that, by me providing you financial education, you're going to become a millionaire. But what I am going to do is talk to you about money so that you feel a little bit more comfortable with it, and that you feel empowered to do the right things with the money that you do have. And so that's definitely something that I'm passionate about and that I'm currently working on. But also, just working on, I am also our newly elected vice chair here for Allen County Democratic Party. So working to meet new people, to get more volunteers, to work for the party, trying to get people to sign up to run for office. We just had that whole conversation about, talking to our elected officials, but we need people to run for some of these offices, so that they can help make a change in our community. So that's currently what I'm working on, is just trying to make some change and make some headway in my local community.
I appreciate that. And I want to shout out. Oh, by the way, everybody who's listening, Tamesha is our board of directors, assistant treasurer. So making sure that, hold me accountable. And then, of course, making sure that there's checks and balances around the financial pieces of the organization. So once you start, for those who are planning to start a nonprofit or in our business, you got to make sure that you have all those financial pieces, CPA, accountant, bookkeeper, all those different pieces set up from the beginning. So it's not just simply starting an organization.
No, and you got to have those checks and balances because you want to make sure that you there's something that could be missed, and you want to make sure you've got people in place that can be like, hey, I was looking through this and I noticed this. Can you explain this? Because it's preparing you, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to have an audit and they're going to find it. So I'd rather somebody else find it and we can fix it before it goes to that audit process where we can't fix it. So
that is exactly true. And so making sure that you be accountable with your expenses and making sure that you're transparent, then also making sure that the organization is financially stable, right? Those are like the main things, because if you have staff like I do, you want to make sure that they will have a job.
Right.
They will have a job
to the best of your ability, right?
Right. So like people, y'all really want to do that? You gotta think about it. So and shout out to Mary Alice for checking in with us. She said that Canada brings their trash all the way to our community to dump. So yes,
that's
they
not
do.
okay.
Yeah, that's not okay. And I can understand them paying a tariff for all of that type of stuff. And I don't understand why they can't keep the trash in Canada. You guys have a lot of space. They're like, why do we need it over here? But anyway, Tamesha, before we hop off, I would love for you to tell us, once again, like, what do you enjoy spending your time doing?
For the most part, I am going into a new era of life. So I'm getting ready to have 2 young adult children. So my youngest son will be graduating here in the next couple months. So this is time for me to kind of rediscover the things that I like to do, right? So spending time with my family is definitely one of those things. And I would love to one day eventually get back to reading. I used to love to read, and now I read for work most of the time. So looking forward to having some downtime now that, like I said, my kids will be young adults, both young adults, to getting back to reading for pleasure, not just for work and other things that I'm a part of, but reading for pleasure, to expand my knowledge as well. So
Tamesha, I totally agree. And I'm glad you said that. And so what I had to do, because I used to like to read a lot, I started a book club. With me having this thing that I like to facilitate a lot of stuff, I'm like, I'm gonna do this because I want to start back reading and get those books that I really want to read, just haven't had time. But then also talking to people like about these different topics. So, what do you enjoy reading though?
I really don't like. I do like good biography. I'm a history buff, so history things, and just regular anything. Now, I'm not gonna read science fiction. I'm not gonna read romance, but anything other than that, I'll definitely probably read.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you telling me that, but I definitely love the science fiction. I don't know, like a fantasy type of stuff. I'll read some of everything if it looks interesting. I'm not really into the biographies though.
Oh, I love the people stories. I'm just like, just make it a movie. Then I don't have to read 400 pages, right?
Just saying. Oh my goodness. So I wanted to say thank you so much for doing this podcast with us, and hopping on to take some of your time so people can get to know you. Like, our board of directors are reachable. They are community oriented people. So I wanted to say thank you so much for staying on. And for those who are not members of Midwest BDC, our membership is free. You can go visit us at midwestbdc.org, and then you can check out and get on our email list, so you can get what we're doing in the community. So, and there's a space for everyone, especially with indoor air quality. And then this climate movement, there's a space for everybody. So I wanted to say, do my shameless plug as the executive director, like, hey, come on and be a member, and it's free. Yes. And we got like perks of membership. Like, we got free education and training. We grant out to participate. Like, I don't know too many organizations doing that for free. But anyway, that's all I had to say about that. So we had some couple trainings coming up next week and the week after. Building Decarb 101. Just go to the website, it's up there. And then the week after that, come get certified to talk to your community about building decarbonization. We made it digestible for people to take it on the road because we know it's very important, and we want to be able to reach everyone on the reasons why this is an important movement to get to be a part of. So thank you, Tamesha, and we're going to go ahead and head off.
Thank you for having me.
All right.